Truth is ever to be found in the simplicity, and not in the multiplicity and confusion of things. No great discovery was ever made without a bold guess. If I have ever made any valuable discoveries, it has been due more to patient attention than to any other talent. If I have seen farther than others, it is because I was standing on the shoulders of giants. To every action there is always an equal and opposite or contrary reaction. Live your life as an exclamation rather than an explanation.
If others would think as hard as I did, then they would get similar results. To explain all nature is too difficult a task for any one man or even for any one age. 'Tis much better to do a little with certainty and leave the rest for others that come after you, than to explain all things by conjecture without making sure of anything. What goes up must come down. I do not know what I may appear to the world, but to myself I seem to have been only like a boy playing on the seashore, and diverting myself in now and then finding a smoother pebble or a prettier shell than ordinary, whilst the great ocean of truth lay all undiscovered before me. Tact is the knack of making a point without making an enemy. A man may imagine things that are false, but he can only understand things that are true. I know not how I seem to others, but to myself I am but a small child wandering upon the vast shores of knowledge, every now and then finding a small bright pebble to content myself with, while the vast ocean of undiscovered truth lay before me. A man may imagine things that are false, but he can only understand things that are true. For if the things be false, the apprehension of them is not understanding. Trials are medicines which our gracious and wise physician prescribes because we need them, and he proportions the frequency and weight of them to what the case requires. Let us trust his skill and thank him for his prescription. If two angels were sent down from heaven, one to conduct an empire and the other to sweep the streets, they would feel no inclination to change employment because an angel would know that no matter what we are doing, it's an opportunity to bring joy, deepen our understanding, and expand our life. My principal method for defeating error and heresy is by establishing the truth. One purpose is to fill a bushel with tares, but if I can fill it first with wheat, I may defy his attempts. I do not think that this, the universe, can be explained only by natural causes, and are forced to impute to the wisdom and ingenuity of an intelligent. This most beautiful system of the sun, planets, and comets could only proceed from the counsel and dominion of an intelligent and powerful being. Nature does nothing in vain when less will serve, for nature is pleased with simplicity and affects not the pomp of superfluous causes. If you are affronted, it is better to pass it by in silence, or with a jest, though with some dishonor, than to endeavor revenge. If you can keep reason above passion, that and watchfulness will be your best defenders. To every action there is always opposed an equal reaction. The wonderful arrangement and harmony of the cosmos would only originate in the plan of an almighty, omniscient being. This is and remains my greatest comprehension. I have a fundamental belief in the Bible as the Word of God, written by men who were inspired. I study the Bible daily. Opposition to godliness is atheism in profession, and idolatry in practice. Atheism is so senseless and odious to mankind that it never had many professors. The other part of the true religion is our duty to man. We must love our neighbor as ourselves. We must be charitable to all men, for charity is the greatest of graces, greater than even faith or hope, and covers a multitude of sins. We must be righteous and do to all men as we would they should do to us. The way to chastity is not to struggle directly with incontinent thoughts, but to avert the thoughts by some employment or by reading or meditating on other things. There are more sure marks of authenticity in the Bible than in any profane history. Yet one thing secures us whatever betide. The Scriptures assures us that the Lord will provide. Sir Isaac Newton was asked how he discovered the law of gravity. He replied, "By thinking about it all the time." Atheism is so senseless. When I look at the solar system, I see the Earth at the right distance from the Sun to receive the proper amounts of heat and light. This did not happen by chance. All knowledge and understanding of the universe was no more than playing with stones and shells on the seashore of the vast, imponderable ocean of truth. In the absence of any other proof, the thumb alone would convince me of God's existence. I know not how I seem to others, but to myself I am but a small child wandering upon the vast shores of knowledge, every now and then finding a small bright pebble to content myself with, while the vast ocean of undiscovered truth lay before me. My principal method for defeating error and heresy is by establishing the truth. One purpose is to fill a bushel with tares, but if I can fill it first with wheat, I may defy his attempts. Atheism is so senseless and odious to mankind that it never had many professors. This most beautiful system of the sun, planets and comets could only proceed from the counsel and dominion of an intelligent and powerful being. And if the fixed stars the centers of other like systems, these, being formed by the like wise counsel, must be all subject to the dominion of one, especially since the light of the sun. Every particle of matter is attracted by or gravitates to every other particle of matter with a force inversely proportional to the squares of their distances. I keep the subject of my inquiry constantly before me, and wait till the first dawning opens gradually by little and little into a full and clear light. The degree and duration of the torment of these degenerate and anti-Christian people should be no other than would be approved of by those angels who had ever labored for their salvation, and that Lamb who had redeemed them with his most precious blood. To derive 2 or 3 general principles of motion from phenomena, and afterwards to tell us how the properties and actions of all corporeal things follow from those manifest principles, would be a very great step in philosophy. Our ordination, Sir Isaac Newton, 1642-1747. About the times of the end, a body of men will be raised up who will turn their attention to the prophecies and insist upon their literal interpretation in the midst of much clamor and opposition. The seed of a tree has the nature of a branch or twig or bud. It is a part of the tree, but if separated and set in the earth to be better nourished, the embryo or young tree contained in it takes root and grows into a new tree. God, who gave animals self-motion beyond our understanding, is without doubt able to implant other principles of motion in bodies, which we may understand as little. Some would readily grant this may be a spiritual one, yet a mechanical one might be shown, did not I think it better to pass it by. Absolute, true, and mathematical time of itself and from its own nature flows equably without relation to anything external. The latest authors, like the most ancient, strove to subordinate the phenomena of nature to the laws of mathematics.
Therefore, the causes assigned to natural effects of the same kind must be, so far as possible, the same.
To explain all nature is too difficult a task for any one man or even for any one age. 'Tis much better to do a little with certainty, leave the rest for others that come after than to explain all things by conjecture without making sure of anything. The ignis fatuus is a vapor shining without heat. Sir Isaac Newton